Good afternoon, Valerie Milano. I am the senior editor of the Hollywood Times and Aspiring Magazine, and I'm so glad to have our guest here today covering this from Los Angeles. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Michael Bickel, writer and producer of Nate and John, and I am in Connecticut at the moment.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. Um, Without any character dialogue, Nate and John crafts a beautiful and heartwarming story about the friendship between a barber and his client who form an unlikely bond that develops over their lifetimes with impressive form and unlikely bond that develops over their lifetimes with its animation and a brilliant musical score. Nate and John represents a combined effort that weaves together cultural perspectives and learned experiences from an array of backgrounds of some very creative folks. So the animation in your film is fabulous. It has a very comfortable and emotive style that focuses on the characters' faces to convey their thoughts and emotions. And it seems you had quite the team of animators, colorists, and background artists on this project. What was that process like, coordinating such an array of artistic folks?
Yeah, our production team name is called Unity Animation Project. And we started that with the thought that we wanted a lot of voices from all around the world involved in this because it's a universal theme that we're talking about. It's the fact that we're all alike and we all have the need for connection. In this particular case, it's the barber and the customer. And it really starts with our producer, Jean Liu, and our director, Jumai Yusuf, who really saw the inspiration that we wanted to do here and went with it and found all those folks that just did all the hard work for months and months, probably a year, and really took it upon themselves. We're a low budget film. We're probably one of the lowest budgets of all the films, but everybody felt so passionate about it, which shows in the final product.
So, so where did the story come from, and what inspired this warm tale of two people of very different backgrounds?
Yeah, the story is started out as a germ, as most good stories do, as a true story. I was selling yellow pages door to door, which I did for a long time, and I needed a haircut. And I stopped in at my barber, and I really was not looking to have a conversation. I was looking to close my eyes for 15 minutes and let him do his thing, and I'll do my thing, and we'll part ways. But he started asking me a couple of questions, and the dynamic of a haircut is really unique, and it's gotten more unique because it's one of the few moments we don't have our phones. Back then it wasn't as prevalent, but certainly today, you put your phone down, you place it under the cover or you lay it down, and you have to connect with that person. And the story was from a true story. He started having this conversation, and it became this meaningful 12-minute conversation that we picked up again 3 months later on my next haircut, and 3 months later on my next haircut. And I just thought that that was a unique human to human connection that I thought I've never seen that story before. And it's something I wrote 15 years ago, and I held it, and it just kept resonating with me until I was able to say, let's make it.
This next question is pretty detailed. The no dialogue approach works well with the animation as you let the story tell itself through the sights, sounds, and facial reactions of the characters. And the musical score provides the perfect backdrop to the story. Pedro Osuna, your musical director, is a heavyweight with some impressive credentials like
Yes.
Lightyear and also Thor, Love and Thunder. How did he come to score your film?
So again, Jean Liu and Jumai Yusuf, they made this all happen. We knew music was going to be a big part of this because, like you said, it's a 7-minute film, no dialogue, and we had to get across 60 years in those 7 minutes. So we had a lot of emotional storytelling to get into that. And it had to evolve and it had to kind of have its flow. And the only way that was ever going to work was with a great musical score. And when she showed us Pedro's resume and that he was passionate about our script and our story, it was like the turning point. It made everything come together.
Yeah, you've talked a lot about your team, and this truly was an international collaboration with a Nigerian director, a Chinese producer, and a Spanish composer, and a trio of Americans, yourself included. What was that process like? The finished result suggests it likely was smooth sailing, was it?
No, it definitely was not. You
Okay.
know, the funny thing is, not only were we doing a 7-minute film without dialogue, which was already, I know it's a low budget, but I believe we started it at maybe the tail end of COVID. So there was no meeting in person. It had to be all these kind of conversations over Zoom, and with the different boxes and the different faces and people saying, "Hey, what about this? And what about this?" And figuring all that out over months and months and probably over a year and a half, and everyone having their voice, and best idea always won. And again, the universal theme of every meeting we had was to make this as good as it could be done. So that worked.
Yeah. Well, Michael, Nate and John has qualified to be considered for a 2025 Oscar. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That has to be exciting for you all. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, it's just like I said, we know when you're doing those Zoom calls and you're having these conversations about every frame, because being a short film, every frame counted. And, at the end of the day, I'm glad we had those conversations. And, we made the film. We never know how it's going to be received. And we actually got into the American Pavilion at the Cannes Film Festival, which was beyond our comprehension or expectation. And my wife said, "Do you want to go?" And you can hear from my accent maybe, but I'm a New York kid. I didn't grow up with a lot. I've never been to the south of France. That's like another world to me. And I said, "When would I ever have a chance?" I said, "Yeah, let's go. We'll go to we'll go to the south of France. Why not?" And we went to the Cannes Film Festival, and all the fancy people are walking by, and getting to our showing was planes, trains, and automobiles trying to get to this place. And it was hot. And I turned to my wife and I said, "Why did we come here?" We were among 30 films. We were among 30 short films, including live action. So, and some of the live actions were super, expensive. They were mini films, probably $1 million films. Ours is way low budget. And I'm like, why did we come here? I felt like maybe that wasn't the best idea. And then they announced the award for the Cultural Impact Award, which was the biggest award of the night. And I'm sitting there, I'm just looking around. I don't even have my phone up. I'm just watching. And she says, "This is a super important award that we put a lot of time in, and we want to give this to the team behind Nate and John." And we could not believe it. We could not believe it. So then it was worth going, of course, on this great trip. So it was a monumental moment. And that really made us realize that this has maybe got some legs to it.
Wonderful. So where is the film now? What are you doing with it? How can our viewers and our readers find out more about this
Yeah.
film?
We need a groundswell. We need all the help we can get. We're up against the Disneys and the Pixars, and we're just this little engine that could. So our social media has all the information. Nate and John Short, I think it is. I think so. You can look it up, I'm pretty sure, pretty quickly. Jumai Yusuf, who's the director, is really running with that. So you can look her up on Instagram and find the information there. And yeah, we're just trying to get to the next stage of the Academy Awards, which is, I think, narrows from 60 to 15.
Wonderful. Well, we'll make sure we put it all in our article. And we're the Hollywood Times. Today is our site. The Hollywood Times Official is our YouTube channel. And it was just so wonderful to be able to see the film. Thank you for sharing it and speaking with you today, Michael.
Appreciate it. Great to
All
meet you.
right. Great. You too. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Bye bye.